Yes.
Okay. Okay, so what is your name?
My name is Adam Kyriakou.
Okay. And where were you born?
I was born in Famagusta.
And where do you live now?
I live in Larnaca,
And what is your occupation?
and I'm a general surgeon in the private sector, plus other activities like being a sports physician and municipal councillor of Larnaca. And I'm interested in history and politics. Yes.
Perfect, perfect. Tell me the story of the division of Cyprus. When did it happen and why?
Well, the roots of the division of Cyprus were beginning to get laid in 1956-57. Up until then, there was no animosity between the Greek Cypriots or the Turkish Cypriots. We used to live together. I actually went to school with a lot of Turkish Cypriot kids, and I am in contact with them. But at the time, we were under British occupation. And at the time, the August struggle started after the statement in the House of Parliament in Britain, whereby the then Foreign Secretary said that Cyprus will never be or will never gain its independence. And that instigated their freedom fight against the British. And round about 1956-57, the roots of the division were set in by the British when they installed Turkish Cypriots as an auxiliary police to guard the Greek Cypriots, something that we've seen in India and Pakistan, Ireland, Israel, Palestine. Reminds me of something, divide and rule. And then we saw a map appear, which was called the Green Line, set by the British again to divide the two communities, who, I repeat, up until then, we had nothing to divide between us. We used to work and live together. And after our independence was gained, and in 1963, the Turkish Cypriots decided to come out of the government, and then the enclaves were formed, and the people began to live away from each other. The end result was 1974, when there was an overthrow of a democratically elected government by Greek army officers over here in Cyprus, and using this pretext, Turkey invaded the island to supposedly restore the constitutional order. Eventually, President Magarios came back and the constitutional order was restored. But since then, we had 40,000 Turkish army here, and the people were not allowed to intermingle or live together as they used to. And I think that was the division per se in 1974. Since then, there were several efforts to reunite the island, but every time we are close to an agreement, then something happens in the area, and because the pseudo-state in the north is really governed by Turkey, the Turkish Cypriots are forced back, and that's why up until now there is no agreement. I would love to see my country reunited. I would love to go back to where I was born, which is in Famagusta. And I would love to shake hands with my old classmates and friends, because really, we are the same people. And whatever happened in Cyprus, it was from outside and not between us. That is my view.
Brilliant, perfect. Are the people on the other side your friends or your enemies? What is the biggest difference between you and them?
I don't think they are my enemies. I think we can actually work together and bring peace to the island. But as I said, the fortunes of Cyprus are not decided between us here. We are next to the Middle East, which is a very volatile area, and there are bigger interests in the area rather than people actually pushing to find a solution to the Cyprus problem. And we, the Greeks, we were always on the side of the Allies. We fought 2 world wars together. And because there was a time when I was actually working for the British, in NATO, we used to say, if you want a secret to be passed to the Russians, you just tell it to the Turks. And that was the common knowledge. So here we have a country of 80 million, a huge country that plays each other against each other. They want to come into Europe, but they want to be the sultans of the Middle East. And it's not a coincidence that there isn't one country that they haven't got major differences. Syria, Georgia, Armenia, Greece, Turkey, Israel. Turkey has problems with everybody. And this is a big problem, that if they want to come into Europe, they've got to obey or go along with international law and human rights and that kind of thing. And that is a difficulty. And because they're so valuable to NATO, they seem to be not pushed towards actually achieving a solution here. But I promise you one thing. There will be one day when Israel, Cyprus, and Greece will be the last bastion in protecting modern civilization as we know it from the onslaught of ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and these kind of things. And you know who's exporting terrorism in Europe. So it's time that we set our lines, as in the free democratic Christian West. Because over there in the United States, they don't understand the fear that we have in our hearts now. And we have to set our lines straight and get the Turks to learn how to obey international law and get them to push, not the Turkish Cypriots. I think the Turkish Cypriots are wonderful people. They're like us. They want to bring their kids up, they want to educate them, they want to leave. But I don't think they care about the Turkish Cypriots. That is a big problem. We are living in a very, very, very volatile area. And there was a book written in 1878, I can't remember the author, and he was saying, anybody that wants to rule the Middle East, they have to occupy Cyprus. And we are a pro-Western country. Here we've got the British bases and American influence. So, help.
Okay.
Help, yeah. Right.
Okay.
Next.
So, who is your favorite person from the other side?
I thought Mustafa Akiji, the current leader, he's got the will to bring the two communities together. And there have been good, let's say, leaders that they wanted the solution over there, but they have to stop looking behind their back and they have to see forward. Meaning they have to be Cypriots first and then Turks.
What does Greek Cyprus have to gain from a resolution?
Well, I shall put it in another way. The question you should be asking is, what do Turkish Cypriots have to gain?
I will ask that also. That's the next question.
Well, live in peace. Bring our kids up in peace and not bring them up in hatred. We are in Europe and we are opening our arms to the Turkish Cypriots. And as you know, there are 90,000 Turkish Cypriots that we've given them passports and IDs, so they can walk around in Europe like proper European citizens. It's peace and calm in this place, because since I was born, there was only fight here and trouble. And I think it's about time we live like human beings.
Excellent. What do Turkish Cypriots have to gain from a resolution?
Well, come out of isolation because nobody recognizes it as a state. It's a state that was formed by force. It's a state that there are thousands of resolutions in the United Nations that they're against them. So we say, come to us, guys. Yeah? And our arms are open.
Okay. Does the current government of Greek Cyprus support the wall?
No.
The division?
No. I'm a very good friend of the president. Okay? And if there is one person in this place that he wants a solution, is the current president. And prior to him, it was the late Glapkos Skleridis. I don't know whether you heard of him, but he was the one. And Nikos Anastasiadis is following his footsteps. They were the only people that actually tried hard, and Mr. Vassiliou. When other parties were in power, were actually torpedoing, and I have to admit that they didn't want a solution because they would lose their status. But the people that actually wanted a solution out of the presidencies that we had here, Mr. Vassiliou was one, Glapkos Skleridis certainly another, Nikos Anastasiadis, and even the left-wing Christofias. He was trying to get a solution. So it's 4 out of 6 or 7 that wanted a solution. And if you ask around, the two big parties together, the left and the right, which is my party, let's say, they add up to 73%. So the vast majority of the people here, they want a solution. Something that abides with human rights and free movement in the island and that kind of thing. I don't think we're asking for too much. Otherwise, wherever they are going, the Turks, not the Turkish Cypriots, they will find whichever stone they lift up, they will find Cyprus underneath. And this has happened in the Eurogroup in the last week. We still block their entrance into Europe, and we will not allow anybody to open any chapters unless they learn to abide with the international law. You cannot be in one community and yet not recognize a member of that community, because they refer to Cyprus as the non-existent. Sorry guys, there are another 29 countries in the EU that they say we do exist. Here we are. So, if they want to play the game right, they should play the game right. Because one day they will have the whole world against them. And they made sure that they have a lot of enemies, starting with the Russians. I forgot them. Right.
Does the Turkish Cypriot leadership support the division?
No, I don't think so. Not the current one anyway. The previous one, yeah. Prior to Mr. Akıcı, yes. I thought he was a representative of the Turkish military here. But no, this guy that they have here, I think he honestly wants a division. That's my own view.
Okay. How would your life change if the wall was removed and all restrictions were eliminated?
Bury the hatchets. Go away from this world peacefully that we've delivered. Because what we've lived, we've lived. Huh? I'm 58 now. How many years do I have? Not many, probably. We have a duty to deliver to our kids a free country. We have Greek Cypriots and Turkish Cypriots, to give them a free country without any guns, without any animosity, to live in peace and live and let live. That's how my life will change. At last, we can forget about wars and we live in peace for a while. You over there, you know better than we do how it is to live in peace.
Why has the issue not been resolved already?
Because not enough pressure was put on Turkey. Not the Turkish Cypriots, Turkey. Not enough. And it's hypocritical sometimes. And to come and pat us on the back, you're doing well, guys, yeah. Not enough pressure is applied on Turkey. Because if Turkey wants, they can solve the Cyprus problem tomorrow. I don't know how much you read about the history of Turkey, but they don't often abide with any agreements. They don't often stand to their word. Come on, they know it in the United States and in the UK. So somebody has to really push them hard. I don't mean by causing harm to the Turkish people. When I see people that are killed with bombs out of terrorists, it makes me sad because they're human beings. I don't mean this kind of way. Make sure that the government of Turkey understand that they will not go forward anyway without solving the Cyprus problem. And if they want to come into Europe, yeah, by all means. But if you cannot respect the integrity of a little island like Cyprus, how are you expected to respect either the religion or the culture of other countries like Europe? And Europe is playing casino there to allow a Muslim country to come into a Christian society. And if they are prepared to go this far, then Turkey should come and meet them halfway. Food for thought.
Yes. What does enosis mean to you?
What does enosis mean? That's the reason why we fought in the First World War and Second World War. On the side of the Allies, they promised us to allow us union with Greece. But nobody, first of all, the history of the British is a history of broken promises and betrayal of their allies, so they never stood there to their word. Now, it's not on. It cannot be on. Now, it's a matter of an independent Cyprus where both Greeks, Cypriot Greeks and Cypriot Turks live together. And they have to forget enosis with Turkey or with Greece. Let us stand on our own 2 feet. Because if you study the history, all our problems here were caused by motherlands. And that is the truth. I love Greece. I love the history of Greece. I consider myself as Greek. But that dream is over. We have to look forward. And the way forward is to forget about all these things. We can still keep our identity. Nobody wants the Turkish Cypriots to change their identity. We can still admire the culture of Greece, that is admire the democracy, the philosophy, the mathematics of Greece are admired in universities all over the world. We can still keep our identity and at the same time be Cypriots first and foremost. If we can do that, then I think that is the way forward.
Do you see the most stable resolution being something like the original 1960 Republic of Cyprus, something like, bizonal, bicommunal?
The agreement that was agreed in Zurich and London in 1959, that would have been an ideal world for us. But as things are, we have to look at the realities now. We fear for our safety because we've got Turkey on top of us, and same with the Turkish Cypriots. So I think at the end of the day, it should be a bicommunal, bizonal federation with a strong government, central government. Okay? So if we can achieve that, I think that would be a way forward. Yeah. I think that's the ideal one.
Last question. People from all over the world may be watching this video, people that don't know much about Cyprus. So what's the most important thing for them to know about what's happening here?
Give us a chance and give peace a chance. I have a lot of prominent Turkish Cypriots that they come here, they speak perfect Greek. And I treat them like brothers. And I am repeating myself, it's not something that we caused here. It came from outside. The fears of then the Soviet Union, the fears of Cyprus falling onto communist hands, that was totally false. And that's what started it. Henry Kissinger was the instigator of what happened here. and he used his position when there was a power gap in the United States, and he was directing operations both in Greece and in Turkey. That was never an issue, believe me. Our president here was actually the most right-wing capitalist that, the Archbishop I'm talking about, most right-wing capitalist that I've ever met in my life, and I met him. So there was never an issue of that. It was a pretext to satisfy Turkey and the junta in Greece. There was never any reason for that. Believe me, there wasn't. Give peace a chance. And yeah, this is the chance now. Get Turkey to come into agreements, and not every time we come close with the Turkish Cypriots, them to jump on top of them and pulling them back. We have the will today.
Are you optimistic about the current negotiations?
Yes. Yes. Because I know, at least on our side, we've got a guy there that is willing to take the extra mile. Yes, they have to come to a solution, because this area needs stabilizing, and it's not just Cyprus. They have to come to a solution, and then Turkey can build bridges with Israel, even Syria, and the other countries, even Russia. Let's start from Cyprus. It's easy. That's what I believe. It's easy if there is a will.